Would you consider what happened last night between the Spurs and Warriors a comeback or a collapse? Final 4 minutes of the game, Golden State doesn't even make a shot in regulation.
I mean, the easy way, to say it would be it's both. I'm going to go with a comeback. And again, when I saw this and it was a 4-point game at half, I said, the Spurs will come back from 4 points. They were down 12 after 3 quarters. I said, the Spurs could still make a run. Got down 16 with 4 to go. You're saying, looks kind of over. And then they go on an 18-2 run, shore up their D at the final stretch of the game. Tie it up with a big Manu Ginobili 3, wasn't it?
Yep. Big Manu Ginobili 3.
After he was cold all game long. But these guys have been in these situations before. This is a veteran team that's very deep, especially with their core 3. And they did it without Duncan even in there. That's another reason I'm calling it a comeback. It would be one thing if they had all their 3 in there and they were dominating, and I would go, they just collapsed under San Antonio's pressure of the big 3. Parker had, 8 points, down the stretch, 8 of the 18, I think, coming down the stretch, and played really well. But to do it without Duncan in there, I'm calling it a comeback.
I'm calling it a comeback. Look, I'm going to tell you, to be honest with you, in my opinion, I actually consider this a collapse. With you being up 16 points with minutes to go? Something like, it was, I don't know. I'm gonna go with collapse. I am. So I am going to have to disagree with you on this one, because to be up 16 points, I wish I knew exactly how much time was left when they were up 16. Here you go. Stephon Curry drops 22 points in the third quarter. Second time he's done that this playoffs, by the way. He did it once against Denver as well. But Curry's run helps give Golden State a lead of 90-72 with 37 and a half seconds left in the third quarter. Then you end up in a situation where all you have is 12 minutes. That's all you have to cover. 12 minutes. And instead of doing that, they get outscored and let San Antonio tie the game. They go into the first overtime. Golden State jumps up by 5. San Antonio fights back, ties the game. Then they go into the second overtime, and Manu Ginobili hits one of the highest arcing, game-winning, ugly shots I may have ever seen in my entire life. They were down 16 points with 4 minutes left in regulation, ended the game with an 18-2 run. As a professional NBA team, you should not go the final 4 minutes of a game with only scoring 2 points and sacrificing a 16-point lead. So I do consider that a collapse over a comeback. Now, I don't want to take anything away from San Antonio. What they were able to do was quite impressive. And San Antonio is, San Antonio. But when I look at how the game unfolded, I would consider it a collapse over a comeback. And I mainly say that because what happened was Curry gives you 22 points in the third quarter, helps you get up by 18 points right before the third quarter ends. And the rest of the game, you guys can't do anything. He did everything by himself. He scored a third of his team's points. This man was exhausted in the fourth quarter. You needed somebody else to step up, and Jarrett Jack was supposed to be that guy, and they didn't step up enough to keep the team with a lead. I'm not saying I expected them to win by 16, being up by 16 with 4 minutes left. No. I expect San Antonio to make a surge. I expect San Antonio to at least make it a single-digit game.
Yeah.
But to give up a 18-2 run in the final 4 minutes of the game, I look at as a collapse over a comeback. I just do.
Listen, it could be looked at from both ways. You asked me to pick one?
Yeah, right? Exactly. You give me a question to pick one, I'm going to pick one. I do agree.
I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. And when it comes to this, it's part collapse and it's part comeback. It's part pride. San Antonio's at home. They don't want to get embarrassed at home. Golden State, do you know the last time Golden State won in San Antonio?
Yeah, I do, but why don't you tell everybody?
It was before Tim Duncan arrived.
Tim Duncan's senior year at Wake Forest.
Yeah. Which was, I believe, 1997, 98, right around there.
Yeah, something like that. Last night was the 30th straight loss for Golden State in San Antonio.
There's a lot of pride there, and this is a team that just doesn't throw things away. This is a Popovich team. This is a team that has heart. This is a team that, regardless of whether the superstars are on the floor or not, this team gives 110%, 110% of the time.
Yes. And Popovich, he mixed up his matchups on Curry. They've tried to make Curry work a little bit on the defensive side of the ball, and you could tell his legs just got tired by the fourth quarter. And I don't, look, lose or not lose, Steph Curry, 44 points, 11 assists, put on a hell of a performance, 22 in the third quarter, like we said. But when I look at it, unless they find somebody else to step up to consistently perform with Curry, it's going to end up like this. You can't look at this man and expect him to pretty much just carry your offense for an entire game. 44 points is a lot of points. But by the fourth quarter, he couldn't get his legs off the ground because he was shot. I think he will be the reason they succeed, and at the same time, the reason they fail.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan couldn't do it all by himself. They brought Scottie Pippen in and a great coach in Phil Jackson. But you know what? They got Steph Curry, and I think Mark Jackson's on his way to making himself a great coach. So you got to get that one other guy in there, at least, to take some of the pressure off of Curry. You can't have him playing 50 minutes in a game, every game. I get that he's young, but you need his legs in the fourth quarter. If I'm Golden State, I am Mark Jackson, I consider only playing Curry for a little bit in the first half. Give me 24 minutes in the second half. Give me 8. Give me 10 in the first half. I'd rather you give me everything you got in the second half when I'm going to need you late in the game, maybe hitting big shots, because I think every game against San Antonio is going to be tight. I think this is going to be a hell of a series. I really do.